Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dive into some fascinating research material from Dr. Sudhindris CG that really gets to the core of what we do as educators. How do students actually learn? We're going to be looking at a specific method that could completely change the way you help them master just about any skill. So, let's kick things off with a scenario that I'm sure every single one of us in education knows way too well. You've got the student and they are just on fire. They're absorbing everything, making these huge leaps forward, and then boom, seemingly out of nowhere, they just hit a wall. It's so frustrating for them, and honestly, it's pretty confusing for you too. Well, this thing has a name. It's called the learning plateau. And understanding this moment is absolutely crucial because this is the fork in the road where students' potential can either just sort of fizzle out or be forged into real, lasting expertise. I mean, think about that beginning phase for any new skill, right? Doesn't matter if it's coding, playing an instrument, or learning a new language. That initial progress is so fast and so obvious. It's exciting, it feels great, and it builds up a ton of confidence. It really feels like the student can just go on like that forever. But that incredible momentum, well, it doesn't last. The super fast progress slows down, and then it can feel like it stops completely. The student is still putting in the time, but they're just not seeing the results anymore. And the key word here, the most important word, is perceived. That limit feels real, but as we're about to see, it's usually just a barrier that's waiting for us to break through it. This is the real danger zone, where frustration starts to boil over and a lot of students just give up. So how do we help them break through that wall? Well, the research of Dr. Sudhindris SG points to a really powerful method, one that was championed by the psychologist Anders Ericsson. This is the key to unlocking that next level. It's called deliberate practice. And it is so important that we understand the difference here. We're always telling students to just practice, practice, practice. But there is a world of difference between mindless repetition, which is just kind of going through the motions, staying in your comfort zone, and deliberate practice, which is purposeful, it's focused, and it's designed specifically to push you forward. So what does this actually look like when you put it into action? Well, Ericsson's research shows that deliberate practice isn't just some vague idea. It's a whole system, and it's built on 4 essential pillars. As an educator, your job is to help your students build their practice on this exact foundation. This framework is basically the roadmap to mastery. So instead of a vague goal like, I want to get better at guitar, a specific goal would be, I'm going to play the F major bear chord cleanly without any buzzing 3 times in a row. The focus has to be absolute. The feedback is instant, did the chord buzz or not? And that discomfort is real. It's that strain you feel in your hand. That feeling, that whole system at work, that is what forges the skill. And this all leads to a really fundamental shift in your role as a teacher. You're not just a dispenser of information anymore. You become the architect of the entire learning process. You're the one designing the path that's going to lead your students to real, genuine mastery. This quote from Anders Ericsson himself, man, it just says everything, doesn't it? Your challenge as a teacher is to find that sweet spot for every single student, that zone of productive struggle that's just a little bit beyond what they can already do. That's the zone where the magic happens. And let's be really honest about something. This kind of practice, it's not supposed to be fun. It demands almost all of your effort. In the Mahabharata, when the master archer Arjuna was asked what he saw when he was aiming, he said he saw only the bird's eye, nothing else. That kind of singular focus is draining. It's the mental version of a weightlifter straining for that one final rep. That struggle isn't a sign that you're failing. It is the very mechanism of growth. So what does this actually look like in your classroom? Well, this is your new toolkit. Instead of just assigning, 20 generic math problems, you designed 3 very specific problems that target a really common mistake. You create immediate feedback by having students check their answers with a partner after each one. You set a timer, create a deep work zone, and foster that intense focus. And then you walk around ready to guide anyone who gets truly stuck. That is mentorship in action. So why go through all this topple? Why should we embrace all this discomfort? Because this whole approach is about so much more than just getting better grades. It's about fundamentally changing our understanding of what a student is actually capable of achieving. Now, the research is clear. This isn't about denying reality. Of course, genetic factors play a role. Some people might have natural talents or better opportunities or just different starting points in life. We don't all start the race at the same line. That's a fact. But here it is. This is the most empowering part of this entire idea. Life deals us all a different hand of cards. You can't change that. But deliberate practice is the strategy. It's the skill you use to play that hand to its absolute maximum potential. It's how you make sure you get the most value out of every single card you've been given. So ultimately, what it comes down to is this. This method is the engine of achievement. It is what turns that abstract idea of potential into a tangible, concrete reality. It's the process that closes that awful, frustrating gap between having a talent and having a hard-won skill. And so that leaves us with a challenge. A question for you. As the architect of your students' learning journey, how are you going to move beyond just simple repetition? How will you design that first small piece of productive, deliberate discomfort for your students tomorrow?